One technique I rarely hear people talk about, but that sounds amazing, is the volume swell. I guess it's not used a whole lot on songs. So I want to show you how to do volume swells with examples from artists like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jeff Beck, from the simplest to the most expansive and orchestra-like. But first, let me show you how the volume swell even works. How the volume swell works is that if you turn your volume knob all the way down, and as you pick, you turn your volume from low to high, you take away the attack of the pick and get this kind of cool violin kind of swelling sound. So again, the very first thing you really need to make sure you do is to turn the volume knob all the way down. And what I like to do is put my pinky on the right side of the volume knob, and then I use all my other fingers to support the picking motion. For my left hand, I put one finger on the note I want to play and make sure I mute all the other strings. This is super important because I find that with my pinky held up on the volume knob like that, it's hard to be accurate in my picking. So I kind of generally just strum across a few different strings to try to hit the note I'm trying to play. And as I'm picking, my ring finger and middle finger kind of naturally hang on to the volume knob too, along with my pinky, to support that turning motion. I find that to be smoother, but I've seen people do it with just the pinky too. Just depends on what feels better for you. To me, that's a bit awkward. If you find it difficult to turn the volume knob, another way to do it is to use a volume pedal that you step on. But many guitar players I like John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers, just plays it with a volume knob. And I kind of like the organicness of doing it too, versus using a volume pedal. Another easier way to do the volume swell is to not pick and just do hammer-ons with your left hand. So that frees up your right hand to just turn the volume knob so it's a bit easier, like this. It just depends on how aggressive you want the tone to be. If you want it to be more aggressive, then you gotta pick. But if you want a smoother sound, then hammering on is not a bad idea. In terms of tone settings, you're gonna want a good reverb, so dialed up at least 3 to 4. But later on in the examples, I'll show you some cool effects you can use to get a bigger sound. Let's start with an easy Red Hot Chili Pepper example. So on the live version of the song, Don't Forget Me, John Frusciante does this really simple but just super soulful volume swell. It's just an amazing way to get more out of one note. Here, he's not even playing that many notes and playing each one super slowly. So he's using the A minor pentatonic shape, these two positions. And he's just improvising around it, doing volume swell on each note. So like... I think the coolest song I've heard that uses this single note volume swell technique is "'Cause We've Ended as Lovers" by Jeff Beck. So Jeff Beck uses his thumb for a softer tone and uses a combination of bending on the left hand and whammy bar on the right hand to emphasize that swelling sound. Just super cool. So I really like using the single note volume swell technique when I'm jamming. I find that it gives me time to kind of slowly find the next note versus feeling like I have to play the next lick and still have it sound good. Next, let's take it a step further and play chords with this volume swell technique for a fuller orchestra sound, using the song "Hard to Concentrate" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers as an example. So here he's doing the same kind of volume swell technique, except with chords. So we got the E minor and a D major, except played an octave up, and they're both played as triads. So again, it goes like... If it's too difficult to pick the chord while adjusting the volume knob, you can also pick the chord way in advance and just adjust the volume knob afterwards. But it sounds less aggressive this way. One thing I like to do too is just to pick a song I like and play the chords of the song using this volume swell technique. If you're interested in learning about good chords to use with this volume swell technique, I've made a video recently about common chords used in Japanese music, so check it out if you're interested. We're not done yet. We can add some delay chorus and tremolo effects for a really big shimmering orchestra sound like this. Pretty cool. Here's without the effects. And with. And honestly, even though it sounds really cool, my effects settings are still like pretty tamed. For my delay, chorus, and tremolo effects, I'm just turning them up like around 3 to 5, but play around what works for you. And you can even play around with more effects like distortion and whatnot to make it even more interesting. One cool trick you can do here too is to introduce a wave effect by playing a chord and then turning the volume knob back and forth. One final thing I want to show you guys. So far we've talked about doing volume swells with single notes or chords, but you can actually do it with techniques like harmonics too for a super heavenly sound. So we'll go like. I'm using the open 12th fret harmonics and 7th fret, but another good one will be the 5th fret. And this of course only works if you use an open string friendly key. So in this case, the song, not the one, is in the key of B minor. So that works really well. But other good keys would be A minor and E minor. I'm playing them as chords, but this of course also works if you only wanted to play the individual harmonic notes. So I want to put together everything we learned so far and improvise a small part using volume swells. I think this technique really helps differentiate a guitar player from other guitar players out there because it makes a guitar not sound like a guitar. So immediately it's like, wow, that's really cool. What's going on? If you're interested in learning about other John Frusciante techniques, check out this video I made where I talk about a subtle trick that Frusciante does to write catchy riffs. Hope you guys found something useful from this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.